And now to a man who's an expert at picking up other people's stories. Meet David Richards, a journalist who's done great work in the past.
Australia's most dangerous criminal tells all, David Richards. How the government condones waterfront graft, David Richards.
That series by Richards in the Bulletin back in the 1980s led to the Painters and Dockers Royal Commission. These days, Mr. Richards runs his own company, Foursquare Media. It owns websites like Smart House, Smart House News and Smart Office, with all the latest news on electronic gadgetry and the companies that produce it. David Richards, by his own account, has made a lot of money in PR and IT. But as he put it in a blog a couple of years ago,
throughout all of these commercial adventures, I remained above all a journalist. I have made millions making the right decisions, not the wrong ones. And that means today writing the stories that attract eyeballs.
Stories like this one, for example, written 3 weeks ago.
New Google phones to be launched this week by David Richards. Several major home vendors are set to roll out a new generation mobile phone running Google software.
2 spelling mistakes you'll have noticed in one sentence. It's tricky writing your own copy, but in the bulk of the article there are no such problems, because someone else had already written it 2 days earlier on the website of Britain's Telegraph newspaper.
Google set to launch Android for phones by Claudine Beaumont, Digital Channel Editor.
The sophisticated handsets will make it easier to browse the web and bring some of the programs and features usually found on home computers to mobiles.
And so on and so on for 553 identical words. When we brought the Smart House article to Claudine Beaumont's attention at the Telegraph, she didn't mince her words.
I would say that David Richards' article appears to be an almost word-for-word rip-off of my piece.
2 weeks ago, the American website Twice, that's This Week in Consumer Electronics, had an interesting story.
Universal to produce Blu-ray discs by Greg Tarr.
Well, it's interesting if you're into that sort of thing. And David Richards' readers are.
Terminator now on Blu-ray as Universal concedes by David Richards. Universal Studios Home Entertainment, one of Toshiba's strongest partners in the launch of the HD DVD format.
And so on for the rest of the story. Twice's web editor Doug Olnick tells us this has been going on for nearly a year.
Smart House continuously takes our stories and either reprints them verbatim or does a very slight rewrite to give the story an Australian angle. What Smart House does not do is give Twice any credit for the original reporting. I've emailed its editors several times asking them to stop this practice.
Twice is not alone. Back in October last year, another US website, CE Pro, was given the Richards treatment on Smart House News.
The study found that 17% of consumers are interested in accessing PC content from their home entertainment system.
And so on and so on. We've identified 10 articles on other websites going back 2 years, which have been reprinted almost verbatim under Richards' sole byline on a Smart House website. David Richards first told MediaWatch that in most cases he has licensing agreements that allow him to use other people's material. Well, maybe he has. He even faxed us 3 of them. But of those, 2 don't seem to cover the websites he's copied from, and the other one doesn't stack up. That relates to the website CE Pro. It's owned by EH Publishing of Framingham, Massachusetts. David Richards faxed us a 2-page, undated business agreement between EH Publishing and Foursquare Media's Smart Home magazine. But EH Publishing's president, Kenneth Moyes, has told MediaWatch that David Richards didn't pay consistently.
So we terminated that agreement. Bottom line, he has no current authorisation from us to use any of our materials and has not had any for several years.
Ah, David Richards explained to MediaWatch, but there's another explanation. Someone's been hacking into his websites. He says he was alerted to the problem by his web text on February the 14th this year.
We believe that a former employee who had access to our content engine has changed bylines, dates on stories and posted stories without our knowledge in an effort to discredit us.
Well, I guess the mystery hacker might have planted the most recent articles. But how long has he or she been at it? Since at least March the 10th, 2006, apparently, when this article was posted on the PC World website and appeared substantially unaltered on Smart House the following day.
The drive packs 32 gigabytes of flash memory into a case the same size, 1.8-inch hard drive.
The publisher of PC World, IDG of Boston, has told MediaWatch,
IDG entered into a licence agreement with David Richards in 1994. That licence agreement was terminated by IDG in 1996 for multiple violations by David Richards. Since 1996, David Richards has had no permission to use IDG content.
David Richards has now confirmed that that story, and most of the others we've mentioned, were the work of the mystery hacker.
Since being alerted by you, we have changed our entire password security structure. We are also implementing account structure. This will allow us to identify whether any non-approved stories are being posted.
Well, that should fix it. Long-time media watchers may remember the Campbell Reed Trophy for Plagiarism, motto Carpe Verbatim, created by my predecessor David Marr. Well, this year we're getting up to date with a new award. We're creating the Phantom of the Internet Trophy to be awarded for the most original explanation for apparent plagiarism.